Now, given below here are two statements. First, the objective of the memory level of teaching is to develop rational and critical thinking among students. Second, the objective of reflective level of teaching is the ability to develop independent thinking and decision making among students. That's correct. This is incorrect. Now, course material provided through a digital platform like Swayam helps learners to go through it any time and any place. Correct. Discussion boards work as asynchronous medium, as anyone can post any question or reply at any time. That is also correct. Discussion boards are an asynchronous form of communication where participants can post questions, comments, or replies at any time without needing to be online simultaneously. This allows learners to engage in discussions at their convenience and also enables a wider range of participation from learners who may be in different time zones or different schedules. The discussion boards can facilitate meaningful interactions between learners and instructors. And now, which of the following are the characteristics of teacher-centered classroom management? So B and D only. That is, the teacher is the sole leader and students are allowed limited responsibilities in teacher-centered classroom. Right? A person solves linear equations in algebra for a number of days and becomes progressively more and more efficient in solving linear problems. He not only becomes more accurate in his work but also solves the problem much faster. This progressive improvement in performance is a form of transfer known as learning to learn. In the given scenario, the person has developed the ability to solve linear equations more efficiently by practicing them repeatedly over a number of days. This has led to an improvement in both the speed and accuracy of their work. The person has not only acquired new knowledge and skills but also developed a more effective approach to learning and problem solving. This ability to learn and adapt to new situations is an important aspect of transfer learning and can be applied to other areas of study and work as well. Now, generalization, the process of drawing a general conclusion based on specific observations or experiences. Transposition, the ability to transfer or apply knowledge or skills learned in one context to a new or different context. Identification, the process of recognizing or associating a particular person, object, or concept based on specific characteristics or features. Now, which of the following statement best describes lecture method of teaching? So that's content delivery in a lucid language. The lecture method of teaching involves delivering content in a spoken form to a group of learners. The lecture method of teaching involves the teacher delivering a content-rich presentation to the students in a clear and concise manner. The primary aim of lecture method is to impart knowledge to the students through a teacher-centered approach, where the teacher is the primary source of information, often supported by visual aids such as PowerPoint presentations, handouts, and diagrams to facilitate learning. Content is delivered in a lucid language to ensure that it is easy for the students to comprehend and understand the subject matter. Additional information, small step presentation with feedback provided. This describes the incremental or mastery learning approach. Production of large number of ideas. This describes brainstorming or divergent thinking techniques. Theme-based interaction among participants. This describes a discussion or group activity approach. Now, a research paper evaluated by other experts, either for publication or presentation at a conference, is considered to have undergone peer review. Peer review is a process of evaluation of research paper, article, or manuscript by experts in the same field. The experts, also known as peers or referees, review the paper to ensure that it meets the standards of academic community. It typically involves an initial screening of the paper by the editor or the program committee, followed by a detailed evaluation by two or more experts in the field. The reviewers provide feedback and comments, point out strengths and weaknesses, and give suggestions and improvements. The author is given the opportunity to revise the paper based on the feedback before resubmission. Peer review is an essential step in the academic publishing process, as it helps to maintain the quality and integrity of research and ensures that only valid and accurate information is published. Now, when knowledge becomes replicable and verifiable, it is then called scientific. The key aspect of scientific knowledge is that it is replicable and verifiable. This means that the methods and results of scientific investigations can be independently confirmed by other scientists using the same methods and tools. This is what gives scientific knowledge its reliability and credibility. In contrast, the knowledge that is not scientific may be based on personal beliefs, cultural traditions, or untested assumptions. While these types of knowledge may have value in certain contexts, they are not considered scientific because they cannot be tested and verified using scientific methods. To summarize, when knowledge becomes scientific, it means that it has been systematically tested and verified using scientific methods and can be replicated by other scientists. Additional information. Humanistic refers to a psychological approach that emphasizes the inherent worth and dignity of human beings and the importance of personal growth and self-actualization. Impressionistic refers to a style of art that captures the essence or feeling of a subject rather than providing a realistic representation. Subjective refers to an individual's personal perspective based on their opinions, feelings, or experiences rather than objective facts or evidence. Now, which of the following are the criteria of a successful interviewer? So, A, B, C, and D. Ethical, open-minded, gentle and sensitive, balanced, not rigid and harsh in comments. Now, which of the following are the ethical problems in research? So, A, B, and C. Plagiarism, coercion, and breach of confidentiality, not beneficence, and fidelity. They are not ethical problems in research. Plagiarism involves using someone else's work or ideas without giving them credit. Intellectual theft. Coercion involves using force or threats to obtain research participation, which is violation of ethical principle. Breach of confidentiality. The researcher discloses identifiable information about participants without their consent. Beneficence is an ethical principle that requires researchers to maximize benefits and minimize harms to participants in their research, but it is not an ethical problem itself. Fidelity is an ethical principle that requires researchers to be truthful and keep promises made to the participants, but it is not an ethical problem itself. Now, statement 1. For open-ended questions, respondents can produce their own answers without any restriction of length. I think that is correct. The second, the memory phenomena of telescoping is not an issue in the survey research. Phenomena of telescoping, that is not correct. So the memory phenomena of telescoping is not an issue in survey research. Telescoping is a memory phenomena where respondents remember events as having occurred more recently than they actually did. It is a common issue in survey research, particularly when asking respondents to recall past events. However, it is incorrect, as telescoping can be a significant issue in survey research, especially in studies that rely on accurate and precise recall of the past events. Now, the preface to a book is an example of feed-forward communication. Preface serves as a form of communication that prepares the reader for what is to come, giving them a sense of direction and purpose before they begin reading. The author may explain the purpose of the book, provide background information on the topic, outline the structure and organization of the content. By doing so, the author is engaging in feed forward communication, which is a type of communication that focuses on providing information that helps the receiver to better understand and prepare for future interactions. In essence, the preface acts as a guide or roadmap for the reader, helping them to navigate the content of the book and better comprehend the ideas and concepts presented. It is an important form of communication that sets the tone for the rest of the book and helps to create a positive reading experience for the reader. Convoluted communication refers to complex and difficult to understand messages. Convoluted. Ritualistic communication refers to repetitive and formulaic messages that follow a set pattern or format. So that's patterns, ritualistic. Now, informal communication refers to casual and spontaneous messages that are exchanged in a relaxed and unstructured manner. Informal is relaxed. Now, a message beneath a message is often referred to as subtext. Subtext is the hidden or implied message that is conveyed through tone, context, or nonverbal cues and is often influenced by speaker's intentions, emotions, or beliefs. For example, a person may say, "I'm fine," when asked how they are feeling, but their tone of voice and body language may suggest otherwise, revealing a subtext of sadness, frustration, and anger. Subtext can also be used in literature, films, or other forms of media to convey deeper meaning. In summary, subtext is the underlying message that is communicated through nonverbal cues, tone, context, or indirect means and can reveal the speaker's true intentions or emotions. Now, lower text, it refers to the smaller or secondary text that appears below or alongside the main text. Critical text refers to an analysis or evaluation of a text that highlights its strengths, weaknesses, and underlying meanings. Appended text. So, critical text talks about strengths, weaknesses, and underlying meanings. Lower text refers to smaller or secondary that appears below or alongside the main text. And appended text refers to the additional text that is added to the end of a document, often as an addendum or supplementary material. Now, what precautions are necessary in the context of online information? So that's C, D, and E. Check the home page or the About Us section of the concerned website. Do not trust the information without date. And do not always trust the institution that owns the website. Those are the precautions necessary in the context of online information. Rest, there is no need to compare the information given by different websites is needed, is correct. A discussion group's information is not amenable to checking. Discussion groups information should not be checked, basically. So that's incorrect. But you need to check about a section. You should not trust the information without date, and you do not always trust the institution that owns the website. All right. To ensure accuracy and credibility of the information, one should check the homepage and About section. Now these statements. So first, in the transmission model of communication, the emphasis is not on the process of communicating. In the transmission model, the emphasis is not on the process of communicating. Well, that is incorrect because it is. And then the second, on the other hand, the symbolic model does not focus on the process of exchange of information. That is also correct because it does. The symbolic model does focus on the process of exchange of information. Transmission model of communication emphasizes the process of transmitting information from a sender to a receiver, assumes that communication is a linear process in which a message is sent by the sender, travels through a channel, and received by the receiver. On the other hand, the symbolic model does not focus on the exchange of information is incorrect because it does. The symbolic model of communication emphasizes the process of creating and interpreting symbols used in communication such as language, images, and gestures, emphasizes that meaning is created through a shared understanding of these symbols and their use. Now, natural code, technical code, ideological code, aesthetic code, and the characteristics: reflection of mass or collective perception, appreciation of cultural artifacts, reflects the socio-cultural world and operational models of media. So the natural code, the use of symbols and signs that are universally understood and reflect collective perceptions. That's the natural code. It reflects the socio-cultural world. That's the natural code. Like road signs, traffic lights, facial expressions, gestures, emojis. The technical code, the operational modes of different media that enable messages to be transmitted and received. For example, camera angles, lighting, sound, effects, special effects, editing techniques. The ideological code, the socio-cultural context of the message reflecting the belief, values, and norms of the society in which it is produced and consumed. For example, political speeches, news, reports. So that's the ideological code. Advertising, social media posts, propaganda. And the aesthetic code, the appreciation of cultural artifacts such as art, literature, music, and film. For example, paintings, sculptures, novels, poems, songs, movies. These are aesthetic code. Now the next is this question: which logical fallacy is exemplified in the following statement? No one can criticize the Freudian psychoanalysis unless the one who criticizes himself has been psychoanalyzed. So that's ad hominem fallacy. Appeal to authority, using the opinion or position of an authority figure to support an argument. Appeal to ignorance, arguing that a proposition is true because it has not been proven false or vice versa. And equivocation, using a term in different senses in an argument leading to a misleading conclusion. Now, which of the following propositions is logically equivalent to the proposition all frogs are amphibians? Logically equivalent to the proposition all frogs are amphibians. So that's no frogs are non-amphibians. That is what is the logical equivalent of all frogs are animals. The next, the proposition. I don't need to go into the devil details. Right. If the proposition some fishes are not amphibians is given as false, then which of the following propositions can be immediately inferred to be true? So some fishes are not amphibians. Some, if this is false, then this will make this to be false, right? If we look at the contradictory, right? So this is true, this makes this to be false, and if this is false, then this makes this to be true. So okay, so this is one that is going to be the right one, that all A are B. Let's see. All A are B, B and D only. All fishes are amphibians. Some fishes are not amphibians. So all fishes are amphibians. All A are B and D. Some fishes are amphibians. Okay. Some fishes are amphibians. Right, so if all are amphibians, if all are amphibians, all fishes are amphibians, then it is most likely that some fishes would also be amphibians. So that's B and D. Now the next, which of the following propositions are so related that they cannot both be true, although they may both be false? So all A are B, all frogs are amphibians, and no frogs are amphibians, A and D. Okay. Now, which of the following arguments is an example of the fallacy of sadharan, that is narrow middle term, according to Nyaya? That sound is eternal because it is audible. It doesn't give sufficient evidence to support why sound, if it is audible, then it should be eternal. Right? So let's read it out. The argument, sound is eternal because it is audible. So example of fallacy of sadharan, narrow middle term. This is because the argument is based on an equivocation or ambiguity in the middle term, that is audible. The term audible is being used in two different senses. In one sense, it means that which can be heard, while in the other sense means that which exists. So that's the principle of fallacy of sadharan. Two middle terms. Ambiguous middle term. Whether it is eternal or audible is not clear. The argument therefore assumes the sound is eternal simply because it can be heard, which is a non sequitur and does not logically follow. The fallacy of a narrow middle term occurs when the middle term of an argument is too narrow, vague, or ambiguous, leading to a faulty conclusion. Now, if 1 megabyte is equal to 2 to the power 20 bytes of the computer data storage, then 2048 terabytes is equal to what bits of data storage? So that's 2 raised to the power 54. Now, a megabyte is a unit of digital information. Terabyte is a unit of digital information which represents approximately 1 trillion bytes. So 2048 terabytes equals 2048 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 40 bytes. Megabyte has 1 million bytes. 2 raised to the power 40 bytes. 2048 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 40 bytes equals 2048 multiplied by 2 to the power 40 multiplied by 8 bits, since there are 8 bits in a byte. So 2048 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 43 bits equals 2 raised to the power 11 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 43 bits. 2 raised to the power 11 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 43 bits equals 2 raised to the power 54 bits. So this 40 becomes 43 when multiplied by 8, because 2 raised to the power 40 multiplied by 2 raised to the power 3. This is what is happening. Okay. Now, which of the following best describes Web 2.0? Social media and user-generated web content. Hypertext Markup Language, HTML, is a programming language used to create web pages. A static website is a website that displays the same content to all users. Intelligent website use algorithm to personalize content and respond to user behavior. Now, video cards and sound cards are typical example of computer software. Second, examples of software utilities include antivirus software, anti-spyware software, and screensavers. So 1 is false. This is false, but 2 is true. 2 is true. Video cards and sound cards are typical examples of computer software. And example that is false, because video cards and sound cards are not software but hardware. And examples of software utilities include antivirus software, anti-spyware. Those are utilities, right? Now, which of the following statements are true? A, B, and C are true. Hypertext links in the www are designed to be unidirectional, which means that the destination of a link may be moved or deleted without the source being notified, resulting in broken links. The second, the Google search engine algorithm is secret, so the general public does not know how the results of a search are being ranked when presented to a user. The third, that web search engines collect personal data and use the data to target users with customized advertising. That is also correct. Now, JPEG, MIDI, MP3 format, and MP4 format. Standard adopted by the electronic music industry for controlling devices such as synthesizers and sound cards, probably MP3 format. This format allows the storage of multimedia files rather than just sound. MP4. File compression format designed to make files smaller in size for storage and transmission, JPEG. And file compression system for music, which does not noticeably affect the quality of the sounds. That's MP3. This is MP4. So electronic music industry, let's see. JPG is done. MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. It is a technical standard for connecting digital music instruments and devices, allowing for communication between different devices such as synthesizers and computers, enabling the recording and playback of digital music. MP3, MPEG Audio Layer 3. Audiophile format for digital music uses lossy compression to reduce file size while maintaining a high level of audio quality, popular for online music sharing and storing large music collections on portable devices. MPEG 4 Part 14, multimedia file format for storing digital video and audio content, allows for high quality video and audio playback on a variety of devices including computers. Now, non-point sources of water pollution are B, C, and E. There is episodic, diffuse, and difficult to monitor. Non-point sources. Right, non-point sources of water pollution are typically caused by activities such as agricultural runoff, stormwater runoff, and atmospheric deposition. Episodic sources refer to those that occur irregularly and intermittently, such as spills or accidents. These can also contribute to non-point source pollution. Non-point sources of pollution can be difficult to monitor and control because they come with a variety of sources and are spread out over a large area, making it challenging to identify and address the specific sources of contamination.